Hey Agaho, welcome to kickoff week for Season 6 of the GBA, and in fact, this was the kickoff game for the league all the season, although it was not going to be the first one uploaded, it was the first one played on Wednesday, so that was cool. This season we are back, and we don't have a Zapdos, and that's terrible, and we also don't have a Blissey, and that's also terrible, but that's partly because Blissey's price got hiked up 50%, because people don't want Cooper to have cheap pink blobs anymore, so I guess it's not entirely unfair, but it makes me sad. The team we do have, though, is, it's pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to doing some stuff with it. More importantly, today on the slate, we have the division winner for whichever division it was. I believe it was, I don't know which division it was. But I know that Lars won his division last season. He got like 9 wins, and that was a division with Dan and Gio. So Lars is coming in pretty hot. We're coming in probably less so, because we're ice type over here. But you see there we have Landorus-I, Aromatisse, Crawdaunt, Druddigon, Shaymin, and Scizor, and not appearing we have Mega Alakazam, Electabuzz, Shaymin, I'm a liar, Skuntank rather, and Mesprit and Vaporeon, which I'm kind of glad to not see. So my first assessment looking at this team was, so that's Landorus-I, Scizor, and a bunch of kind of okay guys, and that was sort of the initial assessment, and it's kind of what we kind of went with. So you see what we got going on here. We have Mega Proto Man is going to come in here, and he's going to be mostly there to check Landorus-I. In fact, checking and not losing to Landorus-I is kind of the general theme of this team, because I felt like I don't want to get beat by Landorus-I. It's a 5th gen legendary, and I hate those. So yeah, so being base 110 speed, we're able to outspeed and KO Landorus-I with Ice Punch, and also we've got a little bit of bulk, as we just made sure to speed creep over Electabuzz with Jolly Nature, of course, and that actually will allow us to tank a Earth Power from full. So if we're either already Mega'd or haven't Mega'd yet, but we're at full life, either way, Mega Glade with its good special defense will be able to handle Landorus-I in some way or another. So I kind of want to don't throw him out there unless we can safely get a Mega off, etc. Don't want to risk him pretty much. You see, of course, we got Ice Punch for Lando. Close combat ended up being what we went with because we didn't invest too much in bulk. So let's just go for a hard-hitting stab move. And then there's a 4th move that I'm contractually obligated to use as the first move we have out. So you might be seeing that this game. And for the 4th move, we have Knockoff, which was kind of between Knockoff or Poison Jab, Mesprit versus Aromatisse. However, Aromatisse does not resist my other stab, Psychic, which of course we don't have Zen Headbutt or Psycho Cut, whereas Mesprit does, so I decided to go with Knockoff instead. Up next we got your fairly standard max physically defensive Bold, Magic Guard, Clefable, coming in from Gen 3, Emerald for the win. Actually I like Sapphire better, but Emerald's easier to breed on. So got that soft boiled going on, Moonblast, and got you see there's a Scizor there, so Flamethrower is kind of mandatory. I'm pretty sure it KOs most forms of Scizor that are especially defensive unboosted, but with a Calm Mind, of course it will. So hopefully we've got the physical bulk to live a stab steel attack and then KO it back. That's going to be the hope and the dream, and otherwise maybe Fable can get a Calm Mind sweep. Not necessarily expecting it, but at least the threat is there. We have a Gliscor here, and it doesn't have Roost, and that makes me very conflicted about my life, but we'll get on with it, because I wanted Gliscor to set up Stealth Rocks, and I really wanted U-Turn to try to get some initiative, to get, goes into some of the other offensive things on the team, which I guess there's really only 2 actually offensive things on the team, but, that means we just gotta have more chances to get them in. We have Ice Round coverage, Ice Fang and Earthquake, and that was because I felt like, man, I really only need Ice Fang for Landorus-I, but again, the name of the game here is don't lose to Landorus-I. I did not want to allow it to set up or anything, so if for some reason he doesn't bring HP Ice, then I can hit him back with Ice Fang. I want the ability to fire back at him if the opportunity presents itself. Pretty much, I don't want to have Gliscor be a free, 100% scot-free switch into Landorus-I, just flat out, because I'm either switching out and he's doubling into Landorus-I, which is probably good for him, or I'm stuck with a Gliscor that's probably done nothing of note. I guess U-turn kind of could have mitigated that, but you know, whatever. Up next we got a Sableye. Now Sableye is the absolute Landorus-I is not sweeping me whatsoever. Guy, this game, he's got some Will-O-Wisp and some other, you know, goodsy stuff going on. Especially defensive, still dies to an Earth Power from Landorus-I. Yeah, don't know if we're gonna end up calling his number. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But if we need him, he is there. Up next we have Crawdaunt, the unloved red. He doesn't have red hair. He literally is black all over. Nobody likes Crawdaunt except apparently for Cooper and maybe a few other people. But funny thing about Crawdaunt, in so much as Landorus-I has counters, it kind of doesn't. That's why it got banned in places that shall remain nameless. Crawdaunt does a pretty good job of walling the standard Landorus-I set of Earth Power, Psychic, and Sludge Wave, which levitating Psychic types do most of that job, but they don't resist Sludge Wave, whereas Crawdaunt does. So it does actually get Grass Knot, which I kind of totally forgot. I knew that like Thundurus got Grass Knot, but I guess I didn't think about a ground type getting Grass Knot. That's kind of absurd. But at the same time, I was heavily thinking he was going to have HP Ice for Gliscor. He could well have had both, in fact, but that would mean preparing for Crawdaunt, and I feel like that's something that you just don't do. So, anyway, the reason Crawdaunt is considerably better of a levitating guy who resists stuff than is Weezing versus Lando is because we got that Ice Beam going on, and that should be able to one-shot a Landorus-I after rocks at the very least. We did throw in, I believe, 100 special attack, so we got a little bit of oomph behind it. And then I think the rest of the way is just specially defensive because I walked up to Crawdaunt this week. Alright, Crawdaunt, you shall have a task to make you an example in these dark times. And your task shall be to survive 2 Hidden Power Ices from Landorus-I. And Crawdaunt kind of looked at me. He's got a lot of eyes, you understand? And he just kind of blinked, but, you know, I don't know. I was able to interpret that he was up to the task, and so onto the squad he goes. We got Rapid Spin, which if he does nothing else, you know, maybe we can at least get the spin off, and you know, hopefully, ideally, keep rocks up on his side and keep rocks off my side because his only defogger is Skuntank, and I guess Scizor could run it too. And then because you know walls exist on his team, we also have Toxic because Vaporeon doesn't like getting Toxic, nor does Mesprit. Nor necessarily does Aromatisse. Those things could have Heal Bell, but at least it will encumber them somewhat. Skuntank would not care one way or the other, but you know, maybe we could make it afraid of switching into an Earth Power. We'll see. And then last but certainly not least, because we're going to lead with this thing, it was kind of predetermined because Lars has no legitimate flying resist, so we can pretty much just bird spam all day. Electabuzz, I was actually kind of afraid of a Scarf Electabuzz because that would definitely make Raptor very sad, but we are Scarfed. We are 1 speed point over Mega Alakazam, which as you can see here appears to have deterred Mega Alakazam from being brought, so I am a-okay with that. And what else do we have? I think we got like U-turn and something else. I think I actually did bring Double Edge, even though like I didn't necessarily need it, just in case like there's a situation where Electabuzz was alive and Scizor wasn't. I think that's the only difference. Sounds like the only difference, yeah. But you know, Raptor Bird generally doesn't suffer from 4 move slot syndrome, so that's pretty good. But that is the team, so let us see how we do. Alright, so Storm Eagle is going to be the first one to hit the field for the... Why is everyone Brendan? Oris, why are you terrible? Why can we not at least change like the color of the backpack or the shirt? You know, even just the color, not the actual shirt, just the color would have been okay. Instead, you're terrible, and I can't wait for Sun and Moon. Complaining aside, we are going to click Brave Bird right away because there's no Electabuzz. I was a little afraid of Scarf Shaymin because, you know, nickname, Sanic. I was thinking he might want to go fast, but he didn't want to go fast. So instead he wants to go into a Druddigon, which by animation quality, like camera, I don't know if the camera was just rusty or whatever, but like there's like JPEG artifacts like all over some of this video. So it's especially on like Brave Bird and Close Combat, all the awesome animations. Anyway, we had Rockhammer Rough-Skin and Brave Bird recoil, and that was a lot of damage we just took. But we also picked up a crit, which did considerable damage to him. don't necessarily know, what extra can kill it now, but it definitely makes it a lot safer. Druddigon's pretty slow at its base 48. I think we outspeed it with the whole team. But if we hit him again, then Raptor's probably dead, and if it's not, then it's going to get at most one additional attack off. I did pack Roost despite being scarfed, but I hope to never have to use that. So we're just going to go into Gliscor, as that seems to be the most beneficial thing to do, especially if he's going to set up Stealth Rock, which he does, because now I'll be able to get up my own Stealth Rock. It's a little tempting to U-turn. I quickly checked to see if it can learn an Ice move, or at least I think I did. But I guess if it did, I just didn't care and wanted to throw Stealth Rock up on my own. And then we will proceed to go from there. So it goes right back into Shaymin now, as we're going to get Stealth Rock up. So at least we both have him on the field. I've got a Spinner. He doesn't have Skuntank, so that means he doesn't have a Defogger unless it's Scizor. And if it's Scizor, then that's pretty well good. So hopefully later on in the match we can get a spin-off and get the Rocks advantage going our way, since it doesn't look like his Stealth Rocker is going to be able to set up Rocks again, whereas mine, well, it could, except for the way I'm kind of sort of going to condemn him here. By, I want to know what kind of Shaymin this is. I haven't seen if it's got leftovers yet or not, but I do have U-turn, and I don't want anything else to take a Seed Flare. So I'm just going to U-turn out and get some, a slow U-turn initiative into somebody, and there's not really a great guy I want to go into. So I think it's just going to end up being Clefable, and maybe we can try some Calm Mind stuff, see what we got going on. It does Seed Flare, and that does quite a bit, but it doesn't kill me, so I guess it's not Specs. We're going to go ahead and U-turn out, which does a decent amount of damage. Like, the amount of damage that deals makes me think that it's not an overtly defensive Shaymin, at least not physically so. So, and that Seed Flare still hurt a fair bit. I am a physically defensive Gliscor as opposed to especially defensive, because again we're here to take on Scizor. But still they did some decent damage, and I don't have like a lockdown solid switch in for this thing. I kind of want to go into Clefable and try to Calm Mind up and see what we can do, but there's a fatal flaw in that, and that Seed Flare, does the whole -2 special defense thing. So that's a risky game that we're going to be playing, but Clefable is massive, guys. Look at this. Clefable is actually really big on the screen compared to Shaymin anyway. But yeah, we're just going to set up a Calm Mind. I'm hoping this is going to deal half-ish, and then I'm hoping with a Calm Mind I can take another one and Soft Boil up and start to get somewhere. And that is, half-ish is approximately how much it does, and thankfully it does not proc a Spadef drop, because otherwise we would be at -1 and we would be proceeding to die here. But instead we are at +1, which I think means we'll be able to proceed to, be able to do stuff. Now, right here, I was kind of thinking, man, do I just want to go in, for a Flamethrower, go ahead and get some damage off on it, and, we can just kind of go from there and kind of condemn Clefable, but I don't want to lose Clefable this early. I can boil up, and it's a little bit obvious to boil up, and also, again, we're playing a dangerous game, because all it takes is one Seed Flare special defense drop, 40%, and we're down to -1 Spadef, and that's going to be bad, but he doesn't have it yet. So I Seed Flares again, and we get down low, but I was pretty sure I would live nonetheless. So we get up to where, no, we would totally still would have been dead from a -1 special defense Seed Flare from there. But that is not what happened, as we have not seen a Seed Flare special defense drop, and he has now used, I believe, 4 of them? Sounds correct. I know I was keeping tallies on my notepad, as I always do. So right here, I could either go ahead and go in for a Flamethrower, or get greedy and go for a Soft Boiled and try to get up very close to full. And, of course, Seed Flare can also miss, which is a much lower chance than it dropping special defense. But it is a possibility that could happen. We already got a crit going our way, so we'll see what other kind of stuff we can get over the course of the game. But in the end, I'm just going to be greedy and go for the HP, as that's what we like. We're going to get that heal, and that is indeed what we get. And Scizor comes in now. And we got Flamethrower, and I'm quite certain from full that physically defensive Clefable can live even a CB Bullet Punch and proceed to KO back with Flamethrower. So that's gonna be what I expect to happen here. Certainly is a... So, there could be a U-turn or something going on here, but I'm just gonna click the save Flamethrower and not play games and try to mess around. And yeah, we'll see what we have going on. Expect to live a Bullet Punch pretty handily, except he has Iron Head, and my first thought was, that's stronger than Bullet Punch. My second thought was, I'm going to flinch, and then the flinch didn't happen, and we KO'd back anyway, so... so that was quite fortunate. A flinch there would have meant probably... well, I probably would have gotten the Gliscor. Maybe. But that might have actually not worked out in the long run anyway, so... but yeah, that is not a thing that happened. Instead, Clefable, you know, we got the 70% no flinch, and flamed it back. So here's the other guy who's got not Technician, but powerful priority in the form of Aqua Jet. And, you know... Gliscor was kind of on this team to set up Stealth Rock, which has been done, and to, you know, wall around on Scizor, which it's dead. So, to that end, we don't really need Gliscor anymore, and I would kind of like a safe switch into somebody else. I feel like Fable can take on Crawdaunt, but not at about, like, 30% HP. So, Gliscor's just going to come in, and Crabhammer is going to come in. We'll also be able to see if it's Life Orb or not, which looks like it's not. That was just Stealth Rock damage you see right there. So good job, Gliscor. You did your job. You got up with Stealth Rock, and then Clefable kind of did your job for you. So you did the one thing you really needed to do, and then now you're Death Fodder for someone to come in, which is, I think, going to be Mega Gallade. There's a problem, though. The move I am contractually obligated to click with the first time I ever use Mega Gallade is not a good move to use against Crawdaunt at all. So that's a thing, but there's nothing else on the team that I should really be going into here logically, because Raptor's gonna get Aqua Jetted. Unless it's CB. It could be CB and it could be locked into it. I suppose it could be Scarf, but I doubt that, so because he wants to break walls with it, of course. So I want to honor my commitment, but close combat is clearly the correct play. So what I do is I take out my little Chespin coin that they spam into all the TCG blister packs these days, because apparently they mass-produce Chespin because nobody likes Chespin. So yeah, and I decided to flip a coin, and if heads, I would use close combat like a sane person, and if tails, which is the result I usually call and prefer, we would honor our commitment and click the other move. So we flip the coin, and we'll find out what it is momentarily. It takes me almost the whole time because the coin flipped off my desk, and I had to go pick it up and flip it again. And this thing comes in. I also thought about doubling out into Clefable because this thing was a fairly obvious switch-in. Turns out we flipped heads, so we just went with close combat like a sane person, and that still did a decent chunk of damage. So in the end, I decided to that getting the Mega up was going to be more beneficial in the long run than, still not having the Mega up because of stuff like Shaymin. At least now we're going to be able to outspeed it. And, we lost some special defense, but we're just going to go immediately out into Clefable. When I sacked off Gliscor earlier, I was thinking, I can still Soft Boil up on Aromatisse and probably on Druddigon, too, depending on its set and what we got going on. But, there's a couple of things that are slower than Fable that it'll be able to Soft Boil up on, and that's why I kind of wanted to double out. But, I figured this thing can't switch in repeatedly. Close combat's still going to ding in a little bit. And this Moonblast actually hurts quite a bit and gets a special attack drop. But, I sink Clefable in here. It's close to dead, but at the same time, it's, I sent it in here to get a heal up and try to make something happen. Of course, Magic Guard allowed us to not die at a Stealth Rock and Moonblast in tandem right there. So, I think in the end, we're just gonna click Sopwell because it's gonna, he's probably gonna switch. It's a pretty obvious switch into, honestly, you could switch into a number of things. Could probably go into Landorus-I, could go back into, I could go into this thing, predicting a soft boil, and I have thought about just going for just a random Moonblast to get some damage in, but it's an Aromatisse, so it's not gonna take anything. And instead we need to get up to a fairly reasonable amount of hit points. And I'm just going to click Moonblast, as I don't want to switch anything into this now. We're at a little bit more, we're at about, actually, I think, like 100 more HP. Or was it, we were at 80? I forget. We're a lot more HP than we were before. I'm just going to click Moonblast, and it's going to hurt. There's a chance Fable might die, or there's a chance that EV Training Armor class pays off in the long run, and we avoid a Crabhammer, and instead of me being dead, he is instead dead to a -1 special attack, mind you, Moonblast. So, yeah, at this point, I had, like, my 3 fingers, except for pinky and thumb. Thumb's not a finger, it's a thumb. Like, in my mouth for approximately 10 to 20 seconds of real time and shock and awe at Clefable doing, not him missing, but Clefable avoiding the attack. The phrasing is important. That's what you get when you EV train Armor Class. That might actually be a joke. Anyway, so Fable's here, and Sludge Wave I figure is incoming because he just had, you know, some fairly depressing hacks happen, and usually after that people make the safe play. He doesn't make the safe play. He goes into Shaymin, and I went into Crawdaunt to try to take the Sludge Wave, and so this ends up being a double switch that definitely worked out in his favor, as, you know, Crawdaunt, again though, you know, it's the spinner that's least bothered by hazards, so, you know, Leftovers covers the Stealth Rock damage. And, well, I figure, if nothing else, I kind of want to get, you know, it's not going to do me any to get the Toxic because of Natural Cure. Ice Beam's probably not going to do very much damage at all, though I would like to get a little bit more damage on there so the Mega Gallade could maybe come in and mop it up. But in the end, I think Rapid Spin is going to be the most important thing. His Rocker is not going to be able to set him up again, so getting him gone from my side and up on his is going to give me the Stealth Rock advantage throughout the game. And that's going to be more important than some damage on Shaymin that, you know, might or might not end up to matter depending on how things go out in the long run. So Rapid Spin's going to be the play. And I think I probably ran a calc to see if I would live a Seed Flare based on how much damage the Seed Flares have been doing. And Giga Drain's, what, 70 base power? Seed Flare's 120, and then of course, you know, they get the same bonuses. So I feel like Crawdaunt would have still lived, I don't know. It might have been close. But regardless, that means Giga Drain means he gets a lot of life back. But it does mean that Crawdaunt actually survives with a decently decent chunk of hit points, above a Hidden Power Ice, or at least it should be. And now that we have Spin off, you know, we can get stuff in. That means Staraptor probably gets an extra attack off at some point. And yeah, that's the number one thing. If Crawdaunt did nothing else, that's what I wanted him to do. So I could go ahead and sack him off here. But I decide, that's still in range to where he can check Landorus-I, and I really value my Landorus-I checks, as aforementioned, so we're going to go ahead and throw Clefable in here. And now he's going to switch over to Seed Flare, and now it's going to get the special defense drop when it really doesn't matter because I'm at 48 HP. So, he's just going to kill me off with Giga Drain here. I know this. And, you know, because Giga Drain's not going to miss, he's going to get back not too much life since we're rather low on it, of course. And it doesn't really matter what I click. I guess I'll click Soft Boil just in case something stupid happens. But really what I'm using this time for is to think about what I'm going to do on the next turn. I can't really check this thing defensively. Sableye can't really do anything to it. It might be able to take the hits, but, you know, I, again, don't want to get Seed Flare dropped, etc. And we just in general we can't do much offensively with Sableye. So it's which of the two offensive things do we want to go into. He still has Druddigon around, so I don't want Rocky Helmet Roughtskin, you know, completely and totally ruining my day. Which that's just immediately going to be a bring in of Druddigon if we do that. Although I might be actually able to kill it with U-turn because of the crit we got first turn, but nonetheless, I don't want to take that additional damage. So Mega Proto Man is here, and I think we're just going to click Ice Punch first. Close combat's going to be stronger, but if he goes for a hit, I don't want my defenses to be lowered. And they're kind of close to the same power, 150 versus 180. So we're just going to go for Ice Punch first and kind of gauge how much it does. And you know, Gliscor did a pretty good amount to it with U-turn, and that's a pretty good amount. I would say that's probably a 2-hit KO. He does pack Dazzling Gleam, which is going to be 160 versus, well, actually Seed Flare would be stronger, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think it would, but Seed Flare also might miss. And I think we would have actually been able to survive Seed Flare there anyway. But again, it might have missed. So, because at the very least, despite not getting an Iron Head flinch and, you know, missing a Crap Hammer, at least he hasn't missed a Seed Flare. So, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe, though, and go close combat, because even if Aromatisse comes back in, it's still going to deal more. But he is going to go into Druddigon. You know, he can't see the exact HP I'm at, and it's definitely very close. Thank you, Crawdaunt, for getting the spin-off. We got an unnecessary crit. And it's going down, but we stop at 7. I really should have calced it and seen exactly how much HP I was going to be at. But I just kind of saw, I was like, yeah, that seems like that's enough. You know, I'm going to trust Proto Man to live. And indeed he did. So now this thing's in here. And, you know, from that range, I'm pretty sure 2 close combat. Seeing that it doesn't have leftovers, which, you know, is a little puzzling to me. It makes me think something might be up. If I had Poison Jab, I probably would have gone for it here. And that probably would have been a mistake. possibly likely in the long run. So I am instead not going to do that thing because I don't have that move, and Proto Man is still very nicely offensive against most of the rest of his team. It can proceed to, from here, one-shot Lando, and it can pick off Shaymin from where it's at and outspeeds them both. So if we can just get this thing low enough, then I think Gallade can actually finish up the rest of the game. So we're going to switch out and kind of just go into Crawdaunt and maybe apply a Toxic, or just generally try to wear this Aromatisse's HP down to the point that, or if we can kill two things, then I think we might also be able to, I don't know, maybe we might be able to do 2 more attacks. I think if we have to take out Lando from full with Brave Bird, I think that might go ahead and take out Raptor Bird, although I did throw a couple EVs into HP. But we're going to run a quick Toxic on here, and, you know, it's I believe, Shown Wish? I think it's Shown Wish. So yeah, Shown Wish, so, you know, it might be Wish Protect, and, you know, generally Toxic is a fantastic thing to get on a Wish Protect guy. So, Wall is Toxic, and if that is what he's got, then I think there's only one move that we haven't seen if he's Wish Protect, which could be Heal Bell, could be a Toxic of his own. But in general, the strategy here is going to be, if he doesn't have a Wish in the air, I'm just going to be fine just to Earth Power, which we get a crit there, which helps out. I actually got a lot of crits this game, good grief. Most of them, or at least some of them, didn't really matter. Oh, we got the shaking and quaking of the camera from the Earth Power going on there. But yeah, the general idea is if there's a Wish in the air, I'm going to Ice Beam, even though it's weaker against Aromatisse, because I do not want a Wish getting past to Shaymin. So if there is a Wish in the air, I am going to do my darndest with Crawdaunt to thwart Shaymin getting a Wish past to it, because Shaymin getting back to life, I believe Aromatisse does have over 100 base HP, which Shaymin's got around that much. Since it had Giga Drain, it might have, you know, not much HP investment, so you can get back a better percentage of your HP with Giga Drain. But as I just said, Wish is in the air, so I am going to go ahead and Ice Beam as he does reveal Aromatherapy, which is basically just going to force me to reset Toxic, and I will gladly reset Toxic. On any of these turns, Shaymin could come in and would probably just prompt me to sack off Crawdaunt to a Giga Drain or whatever else. But yeah, we're just going to continually reapply Toxic, and Wish is in the air, so we know what that means. We're actually back in the green after I sort of kind of switched in Crawdaunt here as semi-death fodder to Aromatisse. But he's switching into Shaymin. Ice Beam has been clicked, and it takes damage from Stealth Rock, and it goes down, and Crawdaunt gets the kill, and I am fist pumping at this point in time right now, because Crawdaunt has successfully done what I wanted to do right there, which is make sure Shaymin does not get a Wish passed into it. Now, funny thing about that is we've got 100 HP. As I mentioned, I have 100 special attack, and it turns out even with 100 special attack, he was Assault Vest. So, another thing that you guys might not know is that when you play with your Pokemon enough in Pokemon and Me, instead of just, you know, gin them and throw them onto a team, you're actually able to increase your odds of getting a high damage roll, and that is in fact exactly what happened there. We got one of the higher damage rolls, and otherwise that Shaymin would have survived with a hit point or two, and gotten a Wish up, and that could have well been pretty bad. It would have been at around half, and it would have, I don't know, it would have been dicey for sure. But now Shaymin is gone, and Crawdaunt actually has a pretty winnable matchup against both the things he has left, because it's been left in decent range of hit points. The Aromatisse was already poisoned, so I didn't have to waste the turn reapplying Toxic, and you know, it's got Aromatherapy here, and you know, do its best to cleric its way through the stuff. But you know, we have a specially defensive Crawdaunt with leftovers versus a thing that doesn't have the best special attack. Its Stab Moonblast is still hurting, I think, about 40 points, right? 130 down to about 90, yeah, hurting about 40 points, and we're getting back about 10, but, you know, Toxic is racking up. He's having Wish and Protect, and that's, you know, taking 2 turns, which is giving me more leftovers, and with this Earth Power, he's just going to go ahead and throw a Wish in the air, and with that, I believe he's going to go down to Toxic, as it's been on there enough turns, and the only thing left is, you know, the Flying Terror himself, Mr. Man, the Landorus, and is this going to be a 3-0, not actually a sweep, to end the game by Crawdaunt? And that is exactly what it's going to be. Crawdaunt going 3-0, taking out the Uber with the Tier 5 to cap this first game of our Season 6 career. So yeah, I think that was a pretty well played game by both of us, really. I don't think either of us made any egregious mistakes. I think we both prepared well, and generally when that happens, it comes down to who got the most RNG going your way. And today that happened to be us. We got, among other things, we had a crit on Druddigon. We didn't get the special defense drops from Seed Flare when they actually mattered. And of course the most egregious one, we also didn't get flinched from Ironhead. That was pretty big. And the most egregious one that sticks out, of course, is the Crab Hammer miss. So I would say actually the biggest one is not getting flinched on Ironhead. The rest, I think the way the game played out ended up not mattering too much. But of course you can't say that it mattered at all because different HP amounts, etc. It may have affected the plays that people actually made. So whatever, it's just me trying to justify getting hacks. Anyway, on to Pokemon of the game, and holy carp, it was probably one that nobody expected to ever get Pokemon of the game, and possibly any game ever. It is, of course, Reaverbot, the Claydol, going 3-0. Who would have thought you could bring Claydol to a game and not have it die, and get 3 KOs without the assistance of Trick Room or any of that nonsense? So you can see his accolades there. Rapid Spin allowed Mega Proto to actually live the Druddigon recoil and continue to be a physical threat to the rest of the team, because at that point we still had Raptor back there, but Raptor wouldn't have been able to go through definitely not more than 2 guys. So being able to have Proto Man stick around and maintain an offensive presence, Rapid Spin let us do that. And yeah, that was the first thing that was important. We decided to bring Toxic because I thought Walls versus Claydol might be a very real thing that happened, and of course turns out that was indeed the case, and Toxic just sort of, as I said, completely thwarts Wish Protect. And then the third one, and the most exciting one to me for sure, was I threw those 100 special attack EVs in there. It was mostly to increase the likelihood that I was going to be able to one-shot Lando, and then I have it right there. I don't know his exact spread, but based on the numbers he told me, I think it was 5 out of the 16 numbers for the high roll in order to KO Shaymin at the range it was at, which I was thinking, alright, even if it's a little bit specially defensive, it's gonna take rocks. I think we can take it out with Ice Beam from where it's at, and didn't think about AV at all, so I probably should have when I saw Giga Drain and switching moves, but I didn't, so yeah. I don't know, maybe I was thinking Cobra Berry for Brave Bird? I don't know. Anyway, next week we got a monumental task. I've decided to change the next week ending slides because people always complain that I spoil matches, even though this one's going up kind of late. So yeah, we have Geo next week, a divisional foe, and I won't put it on the screen, but I'll yell it out verbally so you have time to click the video. And also, generally, we won't have any things of note in the next week segment. So if you see who we're playing, if you want to go ahead and click off, because I'm still gonna say spoilers about the person we're playing. It's just I'll try to avoid other stuff. Maybe I don't know. It'll probably still be spoilers, just that there's spoilers on the screen, and you won't visually get spoiled on them. But whatever. If you don't like spoilers, don't watch the next week part after you see who we're playing. Anyway, Geo won this week. He won 4-0. He swept Dan with a Mega Absol and Swords Dance Mega Absol to be precise, and we're going to have to see what we can do to not have that happen to us. He has Zapdos, and that makes me a little upset with him because he's got my bird. But we've got another bird, and we're going to see maybe that bird can actually beat Zapdos if it runs Double Edge, question mark. Those answers and more can be yours if you come back next week to watch week 2 of the Utah Jasmine here in GBA Season 6. Later days.